Why does he want to own Twitter?
Well, he's been very clear about that. He's not going to make much money from it because the turnover isn't enough. But when he was asked about why he was buying things like Twitter, he said it's power and influence. So that's pretty clear.
OK, lots of people speculating about whether or not one of the first moves he'll make is to allow Donald Trump to return to the platform. Of course, he was removed last year after he was accused of inciting violence against the Capitol.
Right.
Do you think that's likely to happen? And I suppose that plays straight into your previous statement that he will be exerting power and influence.
Well, exactly so. I mean, he calls himself a free speech absolutionist, Elon Musk. So he's very much in favour of getting free speech back on the platform. So I wouldn't be in the least surprised to see a lot of people, Trump included, coming back onto the Twitter platform over the next... Well, it's going to happen at the end of this year, but certainly next year.
Do you think he overpaid $44 billion for arguably a dwindling user base?
Well, you could well argue that, and I think probably he has overvalued it a little bit. I mean, there are 15 social networks bigger than Twitter, so if you wanted to go out there and make some money, Twitter was not the one to buy.
But how do you make money from Twitter? I'm not aware of seeing adverts on Twitter. Or
Well,
it turns over about $5 billion. So there are sponsored tweets. There are people who can actually get tweets in front of you. That's how they make their money. Some advertising, sponsored tweets, that kind of thing. But it's not huge.
So if I was to put a tweet out there and it got a lot of hits, that's worth money to someone. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's probably not worth money to you yet, but yes, it could potentially. You can sponsor a tweet and get it in front of more and more people, sell more product. That's that kind of thing. It's like advertising.
And it's his first sort of foray into media, really. Do you think this could be a sign of things to come? Do you think he has ambitions to be a sort of Murdoch as well as a sort of man who sends people
Wouldn't
to the
mind betting he's been watching Citizen Kane in his little cinema at home somewhere. It certainly looks that way. Who knows what he's thinking, but it certainly looks as though he's moving down that media route.
Yeah, well, let me say this to you. Certainly if you're in the public eye or you follow a football team or you comment about someone else's football team, I could go on and on and on. Twitter is a vile, toxic place full of nasty people, people who want to wake up offended. There are people out there today, what camera am I on? We're in a studio here with no lights on cameras, but there are people who wake up, you may indeed be one of them, who wake up wanting to hate someone, wanting to be angry. What's the first thing you do? You go to Twitter to get it off your chest. So maybe you're one of those people. So what about the toxicity of Twitter?
It's hard to disagree with you on that. It's certainly got worse over the years. I've been on it just over 15 years now, and I've seen it get worse and worse and worse. And the potential is not great. If he's going to deregulate, if he's going to bring people back on, it can only get worse, I'm afraid, over the next...
He said he wants to try and clamp down on these anonymous users.
The spam bots.
It's not even the anonymous ones we're talking about. It's the very... what's the opposite of anonymous?
Public.
Anonymous?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. So it's all those anonymous people. And the thing that gets me is you always have hashtags like hashtag be kind. I love my wife and family. My children mean everything to me.
That's usually their bio, isn't it?
Yeah,
and then
that's usually, and it's just then they just go... Bleh, to everybody
we'll
else.
all try and be nice on Twitter. That's the
I agree with you. As my father always said, if you can't say anything good, don't say anything bad.
That's right.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, to me, if you're thinking of an outlet that has a negative connotation, who wants to own a company that is negative?
I don't think he doesn't want it to be negative. He wants it to be free. He wants to be able to use it to get his message out to the world. That's really what this is about.
So what is his message?
We're not entirely sure. We're never quite sure what he's thinking. I think he's building his empire. He's building his media empire. He's got his SpaceX. He's got Tesla and all these sorts of things. And I think he's just gradually expanding. And he sees himself up against those other sort of tech giants. He put out quite a nasty tweet about Bill Gates.
Did he?
Just a couple of days ago. So I think there's some rivalry going on here.
How nasty was nasty?
Nasty. I'm not going to talk about it on air, but you can look it up.
OK,
well, now he might be introducing the editing function. Then he might go back and change that if he decides that he wants to tone it down at some point in the future. Well, that's one change I think a lot of people would welcome anyway.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.